Cassandra Martinez. Welcome to Sideshow Con. Woo! Today we are chatting with Sideshow's cut and sew manager, Tim Hanson. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Amy. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing okay. We're doing well. Thank you.
Good to hear. Now, I want to first start off by asking how you got started in this field. Like, what was the first time that you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. Good. Okay. It probably happened this summer. Actually, the Phantom Menace came out. So that puts us back at '99. And I was, there was something about I'd always loved film costumes. Of course, I always thought it was very cool. I remember my mom sewing a little bit when I was younger. But something about seeing Phantom Menace and it was probably honestly the Jedi robes that really pulled me in. I thought it was so cool. But I just had a thought then that I wanted to try to learn how to make something like that. Can I get behind a sewing machine? Can I understand what patterning is all about? And it was probably then. So I was about 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, okay, so now like thinking back to that time, what were those first few months when you were trying to understand sewing and all of that? Because I commend you. I can't even get close to a sewing machine without being terrified.
Well, you're not alone. That's for sure. I think quite a few people are intimidated by it, but really, in a way, it's very much like learning to drive and with an actual pedal and everything. But I'll tell you what is very intimidating is opening up a pattern and trying to make any sense of it. Most commercial patterns, you can go to the store and just kind of browse. But what does all of that stuff mean? So initially, I was completely lost. But fortunately, I had my mom to help me. And she was really the guiding force to not just understanding that, but even taking it a step further and kind of evolving it to fit a person rather than just following, the generic pattern cut lines on there. So that was really the biggest. The first few months were pretty much that. It was robes and just trying to get bigger shapes and flowing fabric. That kind of stuff was always appealing to me and just cool looking. So yeah, that really was initially it.
Now, thinking back to your first paid gig, what was that? Of course, in the industry, like what was it? What were your thoughts, feelings, emotions? Yeah.
So in the industry specifically, and it was Sideshow because this was like my first real go at, and this was miniature stuff. So I had never done anything like this before. I've done some stuff for cosplay friends and certainly quite a few life-size pieces that sort of translates to a smaller scale. But I went in 2006, I'm sorry. So long ago now. And a friend of mine just said that Sideshow was looking for somebody that knew how to sew. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. I certainly heard about Sideshow. I'd seen him at Comic-Con in 2005. So the excitement was definitely there, even the prospect of trying something for this company. So I went in and they gave me a test. They're like, here's a 12-inch figure body. Can you make like a flight suit for this thing? So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So, so I got some muslin and I tried my best, knowing what I did to kind of work around making a pattern like that. So it was quite difficult and very challenging. So I brought back something a couple weeks later. They looked at it and said, yeah, it looks like you sort of know what you're doing, which I don't know that I did looking back on it, but it was enough to get my foot in the door. And then my first project was the Yavin ceremony Luke jacket from the end of A New Hope, just the yellow jacket because the shirt and the pants had already been done. So they needed somebody to make a jacket. And I do have my first pieces, and I mean to frame them someday because they mean a lot to me. And that took me 7, 8, 9 tries to kind of get it to where I was happy with it.
My goodness, those are such good stories. Like, I want to know what or who inspires you, real or fiction. I mean, you did talk about Star Wars. first starting
Yes.
out. So
Yep.
would that be the answer?
Star Wars was a massive one for sure. Growing up on the movies, and then feel how we may about the prequels, they certainly have a lot to offer in terms of costumes and aesthetic and stuff like that. That really is quite inspiring. But I really love uh, I really love looking at film and television, particularly fantasy stuff is very inspiring to me. Game of Thrones every episode was one of those like, how are you going to blow my mind next? And it was, I love that they had merged a lot of historical costume with the fantasy element, and things like that. I think would really excite me and kind of get me interested and creative about what I can do and what I can add to my art.
Mhm. What would be some advice you'd give someone just starting out, maybe looking to get, used to a sewing machine, not be so terrified of it, and just in
Absolutely.
general in the industry?
Yeah, yeah. Well, particularly in my area with cut and sew stuff and miniature stuff in general, it really is. I can't express enough that people get out there and uh, feel fabric and texture and see how it
Mhm.
drapes and flows and how it moves, and so how it wrinkles in your fingers. Every time I'm out looking at something, that's always the big test, is wrapping it around the fingers and pleating it and folding it. Does it drape? What does it do when I fold it down this far? I'm constantly exploring different fabrics and stuff. Obviously, right now, given the pandemic and stuff, getting out is not quite so easy. But feeling textiles and really uh, getting an understanding about them is probably one of the greatest things for understanding scale. That's really important.
And final question: looking back at everything you've been able to do so far,
Yeah.
what are you most proud of as an artist?
Um, it's a tough one. I mean, there are projects that have been incredibly difficult. I would say, in terms of pride, at least in this industry, something that I really, really, truly love is knowing that there are people out there that will that collect these things and love them and cherish them. And obviously, Comic Con is a time when people can walk up to us and express that themselves, which I've had several times in the past, and that is enormously moving as an artist, to know that I have some level of impact on something. Even going around social media, Facebook or Instagram, and seeing people really getting into these things in their collections, or just want, even if it's a piece, but it's something that they treasure and that they love, and knowing that I had even a small part in that is very moving and very special.
But it's true. Like, I mean,
It's so
people,
true.
like, we have these pieces in our home, and it's part of who we are. This
Yeah,
is our life. Thank you so much, Tim, for
my
everything that
pleasure.
you do. Thank
Sure.
you for chatting with us as well. And thank you, everyone watching at home. Make sure that you stay tuned for more from Sideshow Con, and don't forget to let your geek side show.